All right, so today, welcome. I am going to be talking about the missing link to long-term health and success and what you actually need to do to take control of your own health. So some of you may be here because maybe you have or have been struggling with any of these things, that you've been to the doctors, you've been told that your lab results are normal. Maybe you are someone that's struggling with gut issues, thyroid conditions, any kind of hormonal imbalances, unexplained health issues, right? So nobody seems to know what's wrong, but you know that there's something wrong. Or that you're becoming frustrated, right? You've got these symptoms and there's a wealth of information out there, but you don't really know who to trust, what to listen to, or where to turn. And you know that you can feel better, but you just don't know where and how to fix the problems, or who to go to, or where to even look. And I want to warn you against Dr. Google, because Dr. Google can be a little bit dangerous sometimes. Okay, so sometimes you need some other input into that. So today, what I'm going to talk about, I'm really focusing on toxins and how they are draining an awful lot of people's energy. They are affecting your thyroid, your adrenals, your gut, and your overall health. And we're going to discuss about where toxins are hiding in your home and what you can do about it, and why detox diets and juicing do not actually work, and what you can do instead. And then also, the body is amazing and wonderful, and how you can support the body's natural detox pathways naturally. So for you that don't know me, my name is Sarah Roden. I am a personal trainer, qualified functional medicine practitioner, expert investigator, health and wellness advocate, inspirational leader, and coach. Let's talk about the history of toxins. And I didn't realize until I was investigating this myself the full implication of what we are subjected to. There are over 100,000 toxins that have been released to date, and up to 420 carcinogenic chemicals have been detected in the human blood and hair. Nearly 1 in 5 cancers are caused by exposures from food, water, and air. And I think I'm being pretty generous, actually, because I did read that 1 in 2 people in their lifetime will be diagnosed with some form of cancer. So I think I'm being kind of generous here, or the document that I read was generous. But there are many toxins that are acting as obesogens that are actually increasing weight gain and also causing damage in our liver cells. So I just put that little diagram there, 1 in 5 people. So just think about 5 people that you might know, and how many of them maybe have already been diagnosed with cancer, or people that are younger that may also be falling down into this rabbit hole of disease and toxin overload. So I've classified the toxins, the main ones impacting our health, into 4. There are 4 major classifications. The first one is mutagens. These are substances that actually can change the genetic material, your DNA, of an organism. And that can lead to genetic mutations, which may result in developmental defects, chronic diseases, or hereditary disorders. Now, some of these others you may have heard of, carcinogens. They are agents capable of causing cancer by inducing cellular changes, and they promote uncontrolled cell growth, potentially leading to tumors and various types of cancer. Then number 3, I have the endocrine disruptors. I feel like I should have had like little diagrams for these guys, like this is the evil villain number 3. So these endocrine disruptors are chemicals that actually interfere with the endocrine system or your hormonal system in animals and in humans. And what that can do is cause developmental, reproductive, neurological, and immune problems in both humans and animals. I've said wildlife. Then number 4, we have the obesogens, and these are chemicals that are actually thought to contribute to obesity by altering the metabolism and fat storage. So increasing, obviously, the risk of obesity, diabetes, and any other kinds of metabolic disorders. So where are these toxins hiding? Now, I want you to know that actually, like I said, there was 100,000. We are bombarded by them everywhere. And they come from these external sources, being food. So the pesticides on our food, the hormones that are pumped into our food, the herbicides, and the antibiotics. Then in our air, we quite often will find carcinogens. Then in our water, we've got chemicals from water treatment, from runoff. So particularly if you're in an area with well water, how do you know what other people are putting into their water supply? It could be drugs, it could be, again, hormones, pesticides, antibiotics, any of those things into the runoff. Then we have in our home household cleaners. We also have a lot of personal care products. Are they where toxins may be hiding? Then we have the food, the packaging, the plastics, the non-stick coating. We could go on. We've also got in medications and also supplements. We have fillers, we have additives, we have colours. But then there's also the internal sources. So internal sources of toxins are, which some people don't even think of as being toxic, are things like stress. And that can be both emotional, physical, current trauma, and past traumas that maybe we haven't dealt with. We can also have excess hormones. We can have hormonal imbalances, which then can cause a carcinogenic effect. We can have overgrowths of bacteria, of yeast, of parasites. We can also have an inactive or maybe a sluggish detoxification system. Have you actually thought about how your body is naturally detoxifying? Have you thought about what you do to support your body detoxify these thousands and thousands of chemicals? So let's talk about it. Toxins are probably draining your energy. They're probably affecting your thyroid, your adrenals, and your gut, which will then, all of these will result in issues with overall health. So where are the toxins hiding in your home, and what can you do about it? Now, it's that time of year here in January, but you may not be watching it in January. But quite often people start the new year thinking, I'm going to do a detox diet. And I've done it myself. I've even encouraged people to do it, but in different ways, not by what people generally think, perhaps using a juicing diet or a particular, like a celery diet or a bone broth diet or whatever it may be, because they don't work. So what can we do instead, and how do we naturally support the body's natural detox pathways? Sorry. Oh, I said this before. So we got the cleansing diet, the juice diet. Have you done the lemon pepper cleanse, the colon cleanse, the colonic irrigation, the sugar cleanse? But what happens? I'm sure that we've all done them. What happens? The weight comes back. We perhaps have joint pain. We get fatigue. We get brain fog. All of these things happen. Now, some of you may have already studied this, may already know about this, but the body has 3 phases of detox. And it happens all the time without us even thinking about it. So I'm breaking it down here into the 3 phases. Again, if you already know this, I apologize, but just to go over this, to reiterate, we have phase 1, and that's where the liver uses enzymes and oxygen to metabolize those toxins. Now, the nutrients it needs in which to do that are things like the B vitamins, calcium, glutathione, flavonoids, amino acids, leucine, isoleucine, valine, and cysteine. Then once phase 1's done, we got phase 2. And phase 2 is where the oxidized toxins are then packaged with water molecules for elimination. So key nutrients here would be, again, some of the ones from phase 1, the glycine, the NAC, the non-acetylcysteine, B vitamins, fiber being key here, amino acids, taurine, glutamine, cysteine, and lysine. So now they're packaged up, ready to go. And then we come on to phase 3, the transporting of those toxins into the liver, kidneys, and intestines, so that then the body can excrete those toxins. What is one of the key components here? Water. If we are not drinking our water, we are not going to get those toxins out of the body. What happens when they're not evacuated out of the body? The body will reabsorb them. So what's the solution? Now, like I say, juicing can work, but does it work sustainably? Now, one of the best things to do if you're going to do juicing is to actually put it with some kind of daily protein. So I'm not against juicing, but if you make a juice, add in animal protein ideally, but alternatives, because you may be like, don't want your vegetarian, vegan, whatever your choices are. So hemp, pea, and rice are good alternatives of protein. Now, as I said, one of the key ones here for phase 2 is fiber. Most people, when I look at the amount of fiber they're consuming, it's not what I would recommend. So the guide for an adult female, and I've only got females here today, is 20 to 25 grams of fiber a day. And I challenge you to use a tracker and just see, gauge where you are at. And how do I add fiber, including whole fruits and veggies, and opting for smoothies where you use the fruit and the vegetables over just straight juicing. When you juice, you eliminate some of the good fiber. So the daily solution for detoxification is, and this is where, again, I want to just stress, yeah, we can go out and we can do all kinds of detoxification, but one of the first things we need to do is to decrease the bad toxins in and then increase what goes out. So I love talking about this stuff. 1, drinking plenty of water. Peeing and pooping multiple times throughout the day. That is the one way we excrete our toxins. Eating a nutrient-dense meal with protein with every meal. Also thinking about, like I said before, where are your toxins coming from? What can you limit in your life right now that is causing a toxic explosion to your body? And then loading up with things like the I can't say it. Well, you know what it is. Veggies like broccoli, kale, sprouts, cauliflower, garlic, and leeks. These are all great vegetables. Now, another part that's often overlooked is the liver. Why is it important? The liver is where your hormones get converted. It is where it excretes excess hormones and where it transforms glucose to glycogen. So learning to support and love your liver Eating foods, like I said before, that support your liver detoxification, reducing your daily exposure, and supporting the liver with cleanses and protocols to assist in detoxification. And for some, and again, this is again to aid and support, it is not to take over, is using a supplement or even herbs. So the belief that diet and exercise is the best way to heal, is that right? No. In fact, what we learn more and more is that diet and exercise aren't enough. There are other factors that need to be considered. It's not about juicing. It's not about eating leafy greens. It's not about depriving yourself. It's not about spending hours in the gym. It's not about the colonic irrigation. It's not about counting macros, etc., etc. All things that we have probably thought and done in the past. It's now about turning our mindset to eating the foods to support your body, eating the correct amount of proteins, carbs, and fats to support your glucose levels and the function of your liver, using organic and anti-inflammatory foods. And when I say organic, being aware of the dirty dozen and the clean 15, knowing which seasonal vegetables need to be eaten organically and the ones that don't need to be eaten organically. And then also supporting your body to naturally detoxify by eating the foods to aid in detoxification so that the liver can flush out those toxins. Keep hydrated. Exercise is important, like I say, as is the food, but I want you to think about it as a complete circle of things that we need to consider. And sleep is also important, as is helpful supplementation. But the first thing is about limiting your daily exposure. Taking a look maybe at what you're using in your house as cleaning products, that's a good place to start. Or what personal care products are you using? What kind of toxins are in those products? Don't think that just because it is a renowned, known for company, that it is going to be a clean product. You need to do your due diligence and look at the products that you're using. Now, there are a couple of things that I like to do that are natural ways to support the body's cleansing. Number one is dry body brushing. So you can see here the woman with a brush. That's like kind of my favorite style of brush. I like one that can just sit in the palm of my hands. And it's a natural brush. And what you do is you start at the feet and you work upwards. And it helps the body to flush toxins and it moves the lymphatic system. It's also great if anybody has any kind of cellulite. It just helps everything move. If anybody is interested, I do have a particular handout because there is a method in which you can support the lymphatic drainage of the body. So let me know if you would like that handout and I'll happily share that with you. Also, going for something, this is a double-edged sword because remember I talked about external and internal stressors and toxins. Massage increases the circulation, but it's also a great way to relieve stress and again helps the body's lymphatic system and lymphatic drainage. But it's also important, humans need touch. So particularly if you're a single person, the benefits of going and treating yourself, and I don't like to use that word because it should be part of your lifestyle where you do spend time and get somebody to actually go through a massage, whether it's just like a shoulder massage or a foot massage, however it works for you. Remember, we're all individuals. I also then like the infrared saunas. It heats the body from the outside in, and it actually then also helps stimulate detoxification pathways because it opens the pores, it increases sweating, and increases the elimination of toxins. Now, say you got in a sauna and you're not sweating, there can be a number of reasons for that. But if you're not sweating, it's a little bit of a warning sign, because that means that your body is not able to actively detoxify, right? Because with sweat is the body's natural way to detoxify. So some people say to me when they're working out, I don't like sweating. And I'm like, I worry, because if you're not sweating, we're not eliminating those toxins out of the body. Another way to support the body is yoga, stretching. Helps reduce those cortisol levels, and it helps to balance the hormones. It also assists in activating the liver and also those other detoxification organs. Then we have acupuncture. I know some of you love the acupuncture. A little bit challenging to quite often around here find somebody. But it's a great way to stimulate, as all the other methods here, stimulate circulation and stimulate the immune system. And it can be specifically used to detox and enhance a digestive system. As always, going to a recommended certified acupuncturist is always what I would recommend. So when people come to me, these are things that I'm looking for. And these are signs that maybe we need to think about looking and supporting detoxification in the body. So we have bloating, we have menstruation issues, we have heartburn, acid reflux, weight gain, headaches, joint or muscle pain, constantly feeling exhausted, belly fat. Excess sweating can also be a sign, because the body is extrally trying to remove some of the toxins. Remember, is the body at a state of, and I talk about this a lot, dis-ease, right? I don't think that word was put in by accident. That disease is essentially when the body is in a state of dis-ease. So all these conditions, and you've probably know somebody or even suffered with these yourself: fibromyalgia, eczema, Graves, lupus, GERD, irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's disease, Hashimoto's, any kind of different thyroid disease. I want to encourage you, these are symptoms. They are not the root cause. A diagnosis doesn't necessarily mean that you will have to live with this forever. And these conditions can be reversed. It's learning to listen to the body and to understand what the body is asking for. It's about restoring the body's balance. Before we say it's genetic and label it as an expectation, remember, genetics is a tiny part of the puzzle. And when we listen and trust the body, we can clean it up on a cellular level and then also reconnect with our bodies, so that eventually it will work for us rather than against us. And when you do, this is when you see the miracles of your body as it works and as it runs optimally. So I always like to use the analogy of a gun. So you have a gun, you have the bullet in the chamber, and that's like the genetics. Okay, that's like your genetic predisposed to have heart disease. But what you need is somebody to pull the trigger. That's why it's only part of the puzzle. So remember, it's not like a life sentence just because you may have a genetic thing running within your family or a predisposition to a particular disease dynamic. It's about learning to listen to the knowledge of our bodies. Now, one of the beliefs can be that cleansing requires deprivation, and actually that is far, far from the truth, because it doesn't. It's about eating right for your body, listening to your body's cues to establish what foods are right for you and for your body, and use food to support the body rather than adding unnecessary stress. Now, for years, you may not have been aware of it. Some of these foods that we have eaten, we have consumed for a very long time, and we have that disconnect to believing that, well, eggs are really good for me. Why would I not eat eggs? Or I've eaten bread all my life. Why should I stop eating gluten? You may not be aware of those messages that your body is trying to call to you to say, I don't like this. For years, I used to say I was allergic to pineapple, and I was laughed at by my family. What do you mean? It's a fruit. How can you be allergic to it? I did run a food sensitivity test and found out that actually I was allergic to pineapple. I listened to my body. And I encourage you to ditch any of those processed foods. You don't know what they're putting into them. And they put a lot of different things into them to make them taste good and to make you come back, to get you addicted to them. And then before you know it, you have all kinds of inflammatory issues. So opting for eating whole foods that are anti-inflammatory and are actually there to heal and help your body. And remember that foods also affect our moods. We have an increase in anxiety, depression, and fear. And the main culprits are gluten, dairy, and sugar. So before we quickly run out and say that depression is a chemical imbalance, let's first think of depression as inflammation. Address your diet first. Remove those toxic foods. I've put here, where do you start? Because some people say, Sarah, where do I start? Simple. Simple little things. Just choose one. Remove the gluten. You can always add it back in and see then how your body reacts. I always say 4 to 6 weeks. Remove it for at least 4 to 6 weeks. And then try it, add it back in. But just pick one at a time. Don't change everything all at once. When people think about changing their diet and changing their lifestyle, they think they're going to change everything all at once. No, just start with one thing. It can be like, instead of using Mr. Muscle, and I haven't got anything necessarily against Mr. Muscle, but I'm going to go for a more less toxic kitchen cleaner. Start with one thing. Remove it, then add it back in. See what your body does. Does it like it? Does it not like it? Adding also into our diet is simple. We can do simple things to support our body. A couple of my favorites here are beetroot, beets as you would call it, or dandelion greens, or grapefruit. These are all great things to add in. You can also add movement. It doesn't have to be going to the gym, but just adding movement. It can be as simple as before you go to the toilet, stand up, sit down 10 times. We're adding extra movement. Instead of going, you've got to go upstairs to put something away. Say, all right, I'm going to go up and down the stairs 5 times before I actually go and put that stuff away. It's what I call habit stacking. So where you already have something that you need to do, what can you add in to create that movement? Support the body's natural abilities to cleanse. Using simple home remedies support the body, like lemon juice. It's a great way to actually break down some of the fats and help our digestive system. But the biggest thing I want you to go away from is I want you to learn to listen to your body and maintain a loving, supportive relationship with it. So when you look in that mirror, before you quickly call out all the things that you see as being wrong with it, take a moment to think of all the things that it's doing in the background without you even thinking about it. And then be grateful for all those messages. So even when you get that ache or that pain, be grateful because it's a message to you saying, I need some assistance and I need you to start listening. Now, again, sometimes it can be overwhelming. And as I finish here today, I hope that I've given you a few things to think about. And I understand that it may feel overwhelming or you don't know where to start. But like I said, just start with one thing. And it's perfectly normal to feel this way when you're embarking on any new path to better health. But remember, you're never alone in the journey. I'm always here, and I am here to help you in any way I can. I have lots of different options, so if you need any coaching from me, you know where I am. I have group sessions as well as individual sessions. There is always a solution that's tailored for you. The biggest thing is making that choice to not suffer and to not suffer in silence or let that uncertainty hold you back. How often do we think that we know what the answer is, but we haven't even asked the question? You might not know the answer. So take control of your health. Do one thing, commit to doing one thing, and I'd love to hear what it is that you're going to commit to doing. Just one thing. Commit to doing it for at least 1 month, and see how your body feels, so that then you can transform your life and well-being so that you can be on a path to a happier and healthier you. And I want to thank you so much for joining me.